Hello and welcome to this episode of Beth of Fresh Air. It's November 28, 2025. And so today we're going to have a good talk about cleaning up. I am strangely excited for this conversation, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Hello, Mike New. Nice to see you. Come and say hello in the chat if you're out there. Help me share this around. As usual, there's some blocks in the channels, you might say. But I just got the nicest little testimonial for Beth of Fresh Air. If you have any inspiration to let me know if you like it, if that's true, then here, let me see if I can pull this up. I think I did manage to do that. So someone emailed me and said, I love your expressions, so full of passion, vigor, succor. I forgot to look that up. What does it mean? Succor. And also the raw humility of your myriad of personal experiences or shares. I got several good laughs from your backwards walking story, even laughing, he said out loud now, but it didn't fit in the banner. So that was really fun for me. It's always nice to know that things are actually reaching people, and I'm not just speaking into the ethers here, because it's more fun. It's more of an exchange, and that's personally what I am invested in. So today's episode is called Clear. I was kind of conflicted between calling it clear and calling it clean. Now, can you guys guess the reason I didn't call it clean? Even though it's slightly more accurate, although clear also does the job. But isn't it funny, the little things? Hello, Maya. Nice to see you. Glad you're here. It's fantastic. It's funny, the little things that go on behind the scenes. People really have no idea. I remember someone, after I had Sarah Tomato on, they were criticizing her for just sitting there during her debates. And it's like, you have no idea what's going on in the back end when somebody is live streaming. I'm just doing it with one person or with usually one guest, maybe two guests at the most. And it's still like a ton of things going on at the same time. Could definitely use another screen. Kind of related to today's theme. So yeah, is there a real difference between clean and clear? I think for me, I just didn't want to be like the mama who's wagging their finger saying clean up, even though it's kind of like that. I'm always speaking to myself in these live streams, so don't take it personally. It might be something that you can make use of. This is stuff in my head and my heart, and I get excited about it. I just have that thing where I can excite myself. It's a pretty good skill. And yeah, clean isn't always transparent. Clear usually is. Interesting. Yeah, I like that word transparency a lot. It's one of my higher values as a way of being in the world. So yeah, transparency. What the heck? There's so many good things that come of it, including that people see who you are. Some people don't like that because they have something to hide. But if you don't have stuff to hide and you're willing to come clean, we'll talk about come clear, come clean, then transparency is so beautiful because people get to see you and know you. And then they have a really clear way to know if you're their people or not. And that's a time saver right there. So thanks for that. Hello, Torty Cat Love Kisses. Nice to have you here. Welcome to the channel if you're new. Totally appreciate it. I do host the King Heroes Journey podcast interviews here, as well as the Beth of Fresh Air, which is live Friday every single week. And we are live on Facebook. I'm sort of debating about going live on Facebook. You can give me some feedback about that. They actually delete my videos after 30 days. So, well, what's the point? It's not much of a place to leave it there. We are live on YouTube, which is my new channel. Please do subscribe and comment on the videos and like the videos. That would help my channel get a little bit of traction, which I don't easily get. I'm live on X. I usually get one or so people on X. And welcome. Thank you for coming. 800 V-Bucks. Nice to see you. Live on Rumble as well. Let me just check if that happened. Yep, it looks like we're live on Rumble and Vigilante TV. Shout out to my assistant, Kristen, who makes that happen because I don't really have all the time in the world as it is these streams. Well, boy, they take a lot, but the satisfaction level is there for me. These topics, very much including today's, are things that I'll say friends and family don't necessarily care for this level of geeking out, right? So if I wanted to enter into big discussion about cleaning, it's not just about cleaning. So this is deep, and I'm praying I can get it all in one episode. Help me out in the chat. Whether you're on any of the platforms, I will be seeing your comments with any exceptions. No, I don't think so. I will see your comments and try to cover all the ground today. Hello, Miss Naikis, beautiful Michelle. Glad you are here. Yeah, so friends and family don't necessarily want to geek out on this stuff with me, but my brain is full of it. And that's why I'm so excited to talk about it, because there's something that happens when you get the stuff that's in your brain, your heart, your mind, whatever it is, and you get it out. There's immense satisfaction in that. And I think it was Thomas Moore, after I lived through cancer, the first thing that I wanted to do was record music, because I had this feeling that if I died with that stuff inside me, it would be a worse thing than just dying. And Elizabeth Lindsay is here. Nice to see you. Fantastic. I miss you guys from the last year's Journey Code. That was my family. Think of you often. And so yeah, you don't want your best stuff to die in you, and to get it out in some way or another. It doesn't have to be live streaming or writing a book or anything like that. I'm going to be diving into a lot more creating in the new year with a new course coming out called Creator Code. And I am currently already enrolling what I call a beta group. And so the beta group is going to be the voyage run of this course, and they're going to help me to possibly work out some bugs and give me some feedback. None of this work is new, but putting it together in this particular way for visioning and creating is new. So I always love to have people tell me, how is it going? And then I can make it really, really useful for people in the future. All right. So, like I said, this podcast is my way to clean up all of this, which is floating in my life and my mind, and that I am purpose to share. I now have access to making transcripts super easy. And I'm thinking about installing this podcast in my Deprogramming 101 course that I've just been revamping and people are signing up for. I have the tendency to create the most advanced work first. I don't know why. I haven't necessarily consciously decided on that. And then I work my way back and I see how could people benefit from more simple iterations or kind of starter versions. And so that's what I've done, gone back to the very beginning, taken an old course that was not totally out of date. I re-listened to a bunch of stuff and I'm like, yep, that's still me. That still is my work. But if you have been, say, watching my live streams, tuning in with various things, and you've heard me talk about deprogramming, I'm going to talk about it today again because it's a very big part of the subject of being clear and clean. And you'd like to chat about the Deprogramming 101, I call it the science of emotional precision, then put up your hand and we can have a chat. You can do that at my website on any form there. You can email me, beth@bethmartins.com. I won't put that on the screen just so that the bots don't eat it alive, because it's still clean. It's a clean email-ish. It's a clean-ish email. Speaking of inboxes, do you guys have a bunch of junk in yours right now? It is. It's funny. It's been Black Friday for 3 weeks already. Every time I keep thinking, oh, it's Thanksgiving already. It's like, no, that's 2.5 weeks away. And yep, people are just high speed emailing. I don't know. I just refuse to take advantage of mainstream holidays. That Black Friday is not. It's not a holiday or anything like that. But it It seems even big. I got way more Black Friday emails than I got Thanksgiving emails. Now, I'm Canadian, so that kind of explains it. Regardless, shout out to all the Americans out there that celebrate their Thanksgiving. And if you're with family and friends, that's fantastic. And if you're tuning in for some of the community around here, that's also fantastic. I know a lot of people have new families, let's say. I send some love. I love that. And yeah, so when it comes to, say, one of my favorite metaphors to share on this topic of clear and clean is that, say, water is super murky and you jump in. We have some pretty murky lakes here, and it's not just because they're polluted, they are now, but they were always like that, that the water has a great deal of, say, clay content. And as you might know, if you've worked with clay, it dissolves in water to a great degree, and it makes the water cloudy. And the only thing that clears that water is not by getting in there and jumping around and waving your arms and working really hard and doing a bunch of stuff. With this metaphor, it's really about being still and waiting. Now, that lake is like an ocean, so it doesn't have a lot of still time. So I actually have never seen that particular lake I'm thinking of clear. But nonetheless, if you want something to clear, often stillness and calmness and silence is going to be a good part of the equation. So yeah, the Black Friday stampede comes to mind. Yeah, I did take advantage of one thing, and I got myself that I haven't got yet, but I am so jonesing for it because it's getting colder here in Canada. We're totally done. We won't have a warm day again. It's starting to get the snow, and so I got myself a sauna blanket, and I could imagine spending a lot of time in there. It's very convenient. I don't have a space for a big sauna. I don't want to install a little house in my house. And the sauna blanket sounds just right for me. So if you want to know more about it, sweating is very important part of cleaning. I'm definitely going to talk about the physical detox side of things. You can't miss it. You can't clean outside and not clean inside. And it works the other way around. You can't clean inside and not clean outside. So I'll get into a lot of the nuances around this. And so, yeah, if you know the mental thing, it is a lot about silence and stillness, but it doesn't go all the way. I got sick with a stage 4 lymphoma, meditating every single day for, not like a bazillion hours. I was a working professional woman, but yeah, there was plenty of silence and stillness, and I still got sick as a dog doing that. So it's not the whole thing. When it comes to the physical, there's, compared with the mental and emotional, there's always effort. There's always changes. Like if you don't change something, nothing changes. And but you can learn to make less effort and get more results. That's the alchemist archetype, by the way. I'm going to be talking about some Sanskrit. I've been digging up my old Sanskrit. Some of that is happening in the House of Free Will, where there's stuff coming up. Maybe I should talk about what's coming up, by the way, quickly before we get into it. But I've been unearthing some of my old Sanskrit resources. The pages are all yellow and they're scribbled on in a good way with lots of notes. I used to be just so into it. And as part of what's called the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, not Yoga Sutras, there's no yoga, it's yog, by the way, just like the word yoke. There's, as part of the 8 limbs of yoga, there is a section that's dedicated to purity and cleanliness and all the things that are related to it. So that's fun to pull out again, a little bit of Sanskrit. And yeah, just coming up. So I let you guys know, in the House of Free Will, we have 2 events coming up. On December 6th, we're doing a roundtable in law, and we're going to demangle the private domain. This is something that it looks like it's making another resurgence. There's been waves. There was a big wave, 2021, 2022. A lot of gurus came forward in the law spaces and started offering people to go into the private, to take refuge in the private. And I do not speak Sanskrit, by the way, so don't speak Sanskrit to me. I know some Sanskrit words. I know how to pronounce them. I have written music in them, and I know some of the alphabet, although I haven't spent much time with it recently. But English, teeny bit of French, teeny bit of Spanish, just to save my life. But that's all. And yeah, so in the House of Free Will, the roundtable in law, that's going to be like amazing for anybody that actually likes the truth. And honestly, it's kind of funny for me because, like a little kid coming into a truth and freedom movement, especially a truth movement, I had the sense that people really, really wanted the truth more than anything. And they were willing to go to the end of the earth for it. It seemed like makes sense to me. It fit my values, and it's like, okay, yeah, let's get right down to the bottom of it. But what I've noticed for the most part is there are gatekeepers. It can be inside your own cognition, literally having the ability related to today's topic, having the inability to take in anything new, especially when it argues with everything you already put in there. That gets dicey. Then you're crossing a precipice, and you're going to have to come clean. I'll talk about that and say, hey, I was wrong. And so if I have any claim to fame whatsoever, it is that ability to say, oh, yeah, I used to bang the feminist drum like crazy and get up and tell everybody what was wrong with men. Although, I wasn't like, evil or mean or anything like that. It was more behind the scenes, a little bit more sophisticatedly delivered. But nonetheless, it was the same. And when I had a breakthrough, when I realized that was just a pile of crap due to a lot of inner deprogramming work, then I just came out and I said it, right? So I'm not saying I'm so great, but this is something people have seen me, if they've stayed with me over the years that I have been out, quote unquote, out there, then I often get the feedback that people like that they've seen me grow. And I'm willing to do that when I hear a greater truth and I can verify it and I have evidence for it and I can work with it in a reliable way, then I'm going to say it. And hello to a few people in the chat. Nice to see you, Trillix, KK1YP. And JJ Hempcrete is here. Nice to see you as quietly content bearer around as well. You guys seem to come together. There you go. I was literally reading the next chat that was coming up. That's so fun. You guys must be together. That's lovely. And yeah, so changing your mind is a really good thing. And then related back to the House of Free Will, I have found someone who they got smacked around a lot in law using the crap and the lies and the things that don't work but sound good. And so he set his course for real education, going back to not, the basics, but to the historical context that creates the law. And, to explain why did he have very bad results using all of the other junk. And he's become extremely educated and very, what is the word? I don't know. He's just sharp as a tack. He's nice as anything. I've never seen him call anybody out or speak badly of them, or, if someone is spouting stuff that's not true, he doesn't go like, you idiot, what's wrong with you, or anything. He inquires. He knows how to ask questions. That's very uncommon, all of those qualities. So I feel very excited to have him as a member of the House of Free Will. And he's been, I think we've done 4 roundtables in law now. Those are all available as recordings. And so you can jump in and get those and then be part of the live one that's coming up on December 8th in the afternoon in Central Time, 2:30 p.m. Anything you can't catch live is recorded, except our weekly meetings, which tend to be more private and more candid. And we, speak more freely there. Not that I don't know, I speak pretty freely, but there's things I won't say in public. I just won't, or on the record. Also in the House of Free Will, we have a Love Your Liver group that is private to the House of Free Will. It's a chat on Telegram, and we're sharing, if you're familiar with the Love Your Liver approach to healing and nutrition, then that is a great group. It's a great resource where you can ask questions. If you're already into Garrett's work and you are a member of his thing, then that more qualifies you to be in the House of Free Will, but we don't mind beginners that have questions. And usually people come to this work when nothing else works, when you damaged yourself with all the wrongies, whether it's in mainstream medicine or in the other, it's natural medicine, but can also be very much poison medicine. So we are having a meetup December 8th that will be comparing notes. I'm now 14 months into my Love Your Liver journey and have experienced a lot and changed a lot and learned a lot. It's been sometimes slow learning, but better slow than never. And Michelle knows me to be a ball buster. Now is now a Beth. Oh, the then ball buster is now a Beth of Fresh Air. Yeah, I could still bust a ball or two, but it's I'm pretty judicious in deciding when I would pull out that. I can't remember the last time I had to bust a ball. Honestly, it's not that much fun. I did want to show, just in case you guys weren't here before, I want to show a testimonial for the Beth of Fresh Air podcast. They said, I love your expressions, so full of passion, vigor, succor. I need to know what succor means, if I'm even saying that right. And also the raw humility of your myriad of personal stories and personal shares. I appreciate hearing that, because sometimes I wonder if, just spilling my guts and sharing all my experiences is actually useful to people. So that helps me to hear that. And he said he got several good laughs from my backwards walking story. You can watch the last one, episode number 6. This is episode number 7, and he got a laugh out loud from that. So that's fun. I like to make people laugh. I always like to make my mom laugh when I was a kid. I bet that was a survival strategy, to tell you the truth. What else is coming up? So 3 interviews, 2 in December, 1 in January. I have booked Joel Schaefer. Super excited to talk to him on the shamanic track of truth, which I didn't even think people were really digging the truth there, but he has proved that to be different, and it's been really beautiful. I feel very aligned with him, actually. So that should be a good conversation. Hello, Leah Flynn. Nice to meet you. It's the most useful for you. Is what? Can you remind me what that was about? Maybe you're at the beginning of the video again. And so what else is coming up? Kelsey Kenny, I booked her for an interview on December 18th, and it's going to be called Brain and Breath Food. So I've been pretty excited. You heard me talk about the MSG and all the cognitive benefits from that last time. So I'm going to get her to go so deep in the science, get her to geek right out, because I always hear her when she talks, she's a little bit apologetic for geeking out. And I'm like, no, we want that. Or I certainly want that, because I'm finally able to start hearing it. It's not gobbledygook. And Leah Flynn, thank you. I have a short memory, personal shares and stories. I appreciate that it's useful, because that's the relatability, right? That's why we're not just all having our own track and doing our own thing in the background, right? It's we need the reflection. We need to bounce off people. We need to hear something where we can find ourselves. And to me, that's what our stories are all about. So Kelsey Kenny's coming up December 18, and then very interesting. His name is Achille Curado, I guess. He is a Canadian ex-police officer that has been through absolute hell. So he has first-hand experience of being persecuted in the efforts to bring about justice. And so that's going to be fascinating. He asked me for an interview, I believe it was last year, or could have been even before that. He kind of disappeared. I don't know, maybe he had some indecision. But he recently contacted me again, and he's going to be coming on in January, first thing in the year. And Leah, you said It's what drew me to you. We always seem to be aligned in the questions we were asking on the journey. How beautiful is that? I love it. You helped me a lot, by the way, Leah. We had a personal conversation about my creator code course coming up. I don't even know if it was called that when I talked to you, but I had some good revelations right after our chat. Made some changes. I made it smaller, by the way, because you gave me that feedback that there was just too much in there, and that is one of the errors that I can make for sure. All right, so let's go deeper into this subject. And so we're definitely on the topic of discipline when it comes to cleaning and clearing. It requires discipline. And I like to unpack that word for people a little bit because it sounds like, oh, at least to say a child archetype or a rebel archetype, it might not sound good. To the warrior archetype, they're like, yeah, bring it on, create the discipline. But that's, it's not palatable to the rebel for sure. Child's not going to like it. They won't really groove on that. But the word discipline is rooted in the word disciple, and that is rooted in the word devotion, and that means love. So if you can make cleaning up and the discipline of that a love thing, that really is a very high purpose for it. And, and your motive behind anything really does matter. It's not just doing the thing. Have you ever rage cleaned? This is not really cleaning. You might get some stuff done. You might break some things along the way. You're going to be miserable. You're going to accelerate the, bad hormones running through your body, and it's just not worth it. So I've been there for sure. Rage cleaning, it's a thing. Let me know if you ever do that. So I think I forgot something across the room. Give me just 1 second. Be right back with you. There we go. So I am dependent on this drug. It's called lip balm. I now make my own, by the way, thanks to the Love Your Liver guidelines about what to not put on your skin because it's full of vitamin A. So I make my own. I'm pretty proud of myself. If anyone wants a recipe, just contact me. And rage cleaning is a great workout. And rage snow shoveling. Aha. Yes, that totally counts. Polly Gautier 888 or Go Thierry 888. Nice to see you here. And yeah, great workout. I personally love shoveling. I don't know what that is. It's weird. My son got a job this year doing like landscaping, and then when the snow comes, he's doing snow removal for the same company, and he loves it. And he's like totally showing up and being disciplined and getting picked when there's less work. He's getting picked, so that's super fun. And I joked with him, "Are you going to come and clean my driveway?" And I'm secretly thinking in the back of my mind, it's like, no, but I like to do it. I like to do it because you get outside. Maybe you're going to get some light in your eyes, which is not, it's kind of disappearing for us in the north here, I have to say. And yeah, I like it because it's a natural way to exercise, especially if you go on both sides of your body and you feel accomplished, and there's a beautiful clean space and you can drive and you're not going to get stuck in your own driveway, which I have many times got stuck in my own driveway. And thanks, JG Hempcrete, about the lip balm. Yeah, hit me up for a recipe. It's pretty simple and easy, and you can get these little doohickeys online. Because honestly, I couldn't buy a good one. I used to buy from a friend of mine, but his is all calendula based, and calendula is definitely vitamin A, as you can tell, because it's like got an orange yellow tinge to it. So sad about that. I haven't the heart to tell him. And yeah, so discipline is really good. And when you clean, you basically create space, you clear surfaces, you make room. And that room is, I know you guys know this won't be information to you, but it is space for something else, something new, or it's just space. And I'll talk about that a little while in a little bit as well. So you see immediate visual results snowing. I know the satisfaction is off the charts. I love that. And you need a heated snowmobile suit. Yeah, that would be good. It does make a big difference to just have the right gear. So you're not afraid of being outside. Like by now, I might have already been inside for 6 weeks, but I've been kind of doing the warrior thing and just dressing properly and going out. We'll see how long that lasts. I also go to a tanning bed, which is 5 minutes in the beautiful, what do you call it? Warmth and light. And then quietly content. Bear would probably really like the recipe, of course. Yes, I don't mind. It's not proprietary. I'm not going to sell lip balms. I'm just not going there. That's not my jam. And yeah, so here's one of my things that I've got a few aphorisms about cleaning and clearing. And so here's the first one: when in doubt, clean. So if you hit some kind of a bump, or you just like there's you're going to do something, but you have doubt about it, or maybe you're doubting yourself, or maybe you're doubting somebody else, or there's just some kind of doubt. You're making a big decision, and then you go into doubt. Well, of course, the very first thing that I would recommend is to release and deprogram. That is the ultimate. And I combine up the cleaning and the release work. There's something just so beautifully satisfying. So if I have energy and I'm not, I don't need a rest and I don't need to lay down, and more and more I get these amazing sleeps thanks to detoxing, and I wake up and I have energy, and it's like, oh, beautiful. So, if I'm kind of like the object in motion stays in motion to a degree that you can go on with that. So I have this thing: when in doubt, clean. When in doubt, just go to something that, if I feel like I can't do the thing I'm doing anymore because I don't know what's going to come next, then moving towards cleaning, it just inevitably something easily comes, right? I don't keep grinding on my thing. I will release, but I won't grind and think and try to come up with a solution and all that kind of thing. So this is a really good thing I recommend. When in doubt, clean up. Here's another thing: when things are lost, clean up. Because do you guys know how incredibly frustrating it is when you lose things? Like your keys when you're on your way out and you have exactly enough time to get there, or just you're going to be a little late anyway, and then you got a key issue. So let's see what Michelle said. Is a sauna blanket also like red light therapy? No, it's this one in particular is using, what is it? Infrared light. So maybe, is that red light therapy? It's different, isn't it? No, this is infrared. So it heats you from the inside like a microwave. I don't know. It's low EMF. You have to check. You have to be really careful about the EMFs, because you can be getting like a really good sweat with the infrared, but you're also getting zapped. So these things are a little bit like a Faraday cage. It will also protect you while you're in it from other EMFs, not UVBs. That's what you want. There's no UVBs in a sauna blanket. It's just the heat and the sweat. So we will definitely talk about that. Yeah. So when things are lost, clean up rather than furiously looking for the thing, because that's kind of, when you lost the thing and it's gone, then, that's really frustrating, and it can create a whole level of frustration in your heart and your mind. And so I will always resort to cleaning when I lose something, or when my son was young and he would lose something and be frustrated. Then I just start to clean, declutter, clear, check out all of the neglected. And I don't care anymore. I'm not looking for the thing anymore. I am just clearing and decluttering. And almost inevitably, I find the thing. It's a beautiful surprise, because I was no longer trying to find the thing, but there I found it. I had that experience. Was it A couple of weeks ago, I was working with a partner doing some of the deprogramming work. And as soon as we finished, I looked down and there was 2 lost things, right? Totally symbolic in a way, but that's how it works. When you clear the space, then you can find things. And yes, and Leah said, when you feel stuck down or in a rut, you clean. It's so therapeutic. Yeah, so I'm not alone. Now, is this a girl thing? Is this more from women? Sorry for the sirens. Wouldn't be the same if we didn't have sirens. So, is it just a girl thing? I'd like to hear from you guys if this is like relatable to men at all. It was one of the things that happened when I created the Beth of Fresh Air. The first iteration of it didn't survive, but it turned into, it's kind of like the mirror to the king hero side. This is the more feminine side. Doesn't mean that it's not going to be for guys. I'm not going to alienate you guys. Definitely a girl thing, JJ says. Okay, good to know. All right, good to know. Now, if you're buried alive in your own stuff, maybe I have to tell this story a little sooner. Back in my yoga days, when I was a yoga teacher, and I had a psychologist that would refer people to me when he wasn't having great success with them, which wasn't the best. I mean, if he's not having success, yoga isn't going to solve your problems, and that's mostly what I was doing at that time. But he hooked me up with a client that I would have to go to their space for some reason. I think they were physically disabled. I was trying to remember even the details. I can't. And I would have to go to their house. I remember exactly where it was on Edison here in Winnipeg. For some reason, I can go to my friend's house like 12 times and I don't remember where they are. But I could probably go to this guy's doorstep for some reason. Speaking of remember, but that was last week. And he had stuff piled from the floor to the ceiling and several layers. Even the hallways were jammed up, right? A really classic hoarder. Had just a bunch of garbage. He had so many newspapers, old newspapers. Why do people hang on to those things? It's amazing. And then, his body was really decrepit and he didn't have good mobility. And even sitting in a chair to breathe was, an effort for him. It didn't last that long. You can't have a whole lot of good progress when you're deep in your own stuff in your space. And then your body also, you can tell he was toxic as all get out. I don't know. I don't think you're going to have that much progress in the process. And Rick, nice to see you. Glad to have you here. Hi, Beth. Everybody's lost something, like the lady in the good book that lost. Lost and Found. Yep, that's in my book. Well, way to go, being lost again, and that's the child archetype, by the way. Yeah, when you feel lost, and you can feel lost when your things get lost too, because we do depend on them. And in your honest opinion, and I appreciate that. Definitely let me know what would be the masculine side of this. So here's an interesting thing that, my son doesn't like cleaning up. He never did. He's not like a little girl that takes pride in, like picks up the broom and the cloth and mimics cleaning like the mama does. He wasn't like that at all. And but now he's got a little side gig going on, his own business detailing cars. Well, that's cleaning, right? That's the deepest cleaning you can do, actually. So he doesn't like cleaning his room until his girlfriend tells him to do that. And then I think he's actually gotten much more into that. It used to be scary when I would go and see his bedroom at his dad's. It would just be like, oh my God, biohazard, child abuse. I'm just like, I would just start doing this and tossing things and decluttering. But I think he's got a better handle on it. So men clean their garages, Michelle said, and workshop area, still therapeutic for them too. I believe that. And Mike says cleaning gets you into a Zen state when done well and over a long period. Nice. I love that. Yeah. So it's not exclusively a woman thing, but obviously interest in different subjects. Michelle said, have you seen men use baby food jars in their workshops to organize tiny little things like nails? Yeah. I love going into a guy's shop actually and seeing how do they organize. The fellow whose farm that I work at, incredibly well organized. You should see his seeds and his tools and his everything has a place. And every time I've come, I see there's like new progress in the organizing arena. And when he plans a garden, it's all mapped out. So he never forgets what's where and what's happening. And me as a gardener, oh my goodness, am I a lost cause? I think I could get better at it, but so far I've been really chaotic. The first couple of years, I never even made rows. I would make like, you know, squigglies and more girly lines that were pretty useless for actually keeping track of things that are growing. Rows work. Rows are a good thing. JJ said, I like to be organized, but it's a necessity, not a therapy for you. Got it. Yeah, yeah. And I've been there too. I mean, it does depend on your lifestyle. That when I had my son really young, cleaning was like, oh, could somebody please take this off my hands? Several times I have hired someone to come in between raising my son and running a business. That's like, if you want your place to be clean too, and never mind meals and taking care of your body, keeping your body clean is a good thing. So, but I also, there are times where even for the sake of my own health, I come back to cleaning my own home because there's some kind of relationship I have there. Probably it's a girl thing. And you love to plan the garden when it's too cold to do anything. Yeah, that's a wonderful activity to remind you of when it's nice. Yep, you got it. And so, yeah, when in doubt, clean up. When things are lost, clean up. And when you don't know what to do next, clean up. That's something that it just gets all of the wheels going. It gets the crap out and makes some space, and that's the ongoing theme. I don't know if it's too much deeper than that, but I got a whole lot of angles to talk from. Now, one of the things I've noticed inside myself, one of the archetypes that can really get behind the clean and clear thing is the lover archetype. And so the shadows of the lover is primarily obsession and compulsion. Well, do you know anyone who obsessively cleans and clears and declutters? They do it out of anxiety. They do it out of fear. They're, um, you know, like it's they don't feel good if they don't, or they can't feel good. Say somebody calls and says, do you want to go out for dinner? They're like, no, I have to stay home and do all of these things. Well, for me, I will never say that. If somebody invites me out to dinner, I'm probably going to go. I'm probably going to abandon ship on my place. It will be there when I get back. And then I'm going to go and enjoy some connection and companionship. I'm free for dinner, by the way. Just want you to know. Actually, not tonight, but tomorrow I am. And so the lover archetype, having this obsessive nature that's driven by fear, then you can get very unhappy in the tightness of routines. And you can't just sit there and read a book because that corner has dust in it or some kind of like thing. Then it's a sickness, then it's an illness. So it's not just that cleaning is good. It really is the spirit that you come from with it. And that's your mom, Leah. Right, I hear you. Let's see, I missed a few. Leah said, when you deep clean your son's room, he always comments how good the energy feels in his room. Yeah. So he likes it. He knows the difference. That's great. I think my son used to pretend it was no different for him, and but he felt it kind of as an assault when I came in, and I would like, oh my God, I would just panic because I didn't have control over his room and his dad's at all. And Rick said, then again, Beth, Mother Nature never sows seeds in straight rows either. Good point, Rick. But Mother Nature doesn't need to like track and be methodical for any other reason. So she broadcasts. Nice. I like that. So I was a little bit more like nature. And that's your mom being so intense. Yeah. I like my mom was both sides. If I think back to it for a minute right now, and she wasn't like the cleanest. She wasn't um, she wasn't obsessed with clean. She would go in waves. It would get like total madness, chaos. Everything's out of control. Kind of peak out, and then she'd bottom out, and then be like, "That's it, everybody, march in orders. Here's what you get to do." And that was never a good time. It was almost always when we were anticipating having people over, because they would see our chaos, right? So then everybody except my dad. This is where I learned to have some resentment towards men. He didn't have to clean up, but we all had to clean up. And there was one time, childhood memory, where I was instructed to clean my room. So I did. And I did it 99.9%. And there was some weird little niggle in my head that said, leave a sock in the wall beside the bed. I know exactly where it was. And I knew it was there. I saw it and I didn't clean it up. So my mom came in, and God bless her, and all love to her. This isn't to call her out, but I got a spanking over that sock. And so that's kind of that same energy that that's just a sign of stress and hitting the end of the wire. But like, I mean, my room looked great. It was just one damn sock, and I got a spanking over it, right? So that's not really the point of it. And Thunder Chicken, nice to see you. Great to have you here. I always enjoy getting the updates on your fake book. Really great. And yeah, planting the garden in the summer is fun. Exactly. So then what happens with the lover? It becomes a kind of, I'll use a Sanskrit word since I'll be using a few more later. It's a kind of sattvic conditioning. So sattvic conditioning has its strong points, but if it comes from the wrong motive, from fear, then you just become a pain in everybody's ass, because you are, so high and clean and pure, and you keep noticing how low and dirty everybody else is. And, you won't sit on a dirty chair. You won't walk bare feet on the dirt of the earth, or, your sattvic conditioning, your light conditioning, you get the love and light people conditioning. And it's not good. It's not good for the person who has it, and it's not good for anybody around them either, because they're just not fun people. What's behind that? What can be behind that, especially with the lover archetype, can be what I call the perfect program. Everybody knows about perfectionism. It is a terrible disease. I do believe strongly that excellence is worth working for. This is something I love that. I like to take something I'm good at and become great at it. And I like that process of digging in and just uh, getting better. I know that gets a bad rap in spiritual circles as well, but increasing your skills, what the heck, right? I love working towards excellence. But if the perfect program is at play, it's going to be working for some fictitious kind of a state called perfect. And you never do reach it. And you're driven by the fear of death to make it perfect. You might have the reverse version of it, where if you get it perfect, that's too scary. So you go out of your way to not get it right. And so, yeah, those can show up in a few different ways. Michelle said neurotic comes to mind, hyper focused on the outside while neglecting the inner chaos can also, right, exactly. So you're madly working on the outside, and it's the inside that needs an equal or more amount of attention, and you're using the outside to avoid the inside. Or I think you can use the inside to avoid the outside as well, because at the end of the day, you got to do everything. Reminds me of your grandma saying, never air your dirty laundry, right? Oh, there's an interesting expression. And hello, Paul. I've been thinking about you so much, wondering how you're doing. Maybe we're due for a catch up sometime soon, but I know your hands are super full. And bah humbug, NED. Now, what did I say that's related to bah humbug? Is that a Christmas thing? It kind of is. It's like an anti-Christmas thing. We're not there yet. We're not on the Christmas thing yet, but I don't doubt your comment related to something. All right. So yeah, the perfect program and the lover archetype and that obsession. So you got to watch out for that. It's not where you want to go with this subject. On the theme of making new room for new growth, just by clearing spaces, cleaning a shelf, cleaning out a drawer. You should never have a junk drawer, by the way. Never, ever have a junk drawer because that takes a whole drawer. And so if you have a junk drawer, what I would recommend, you take that whole thing out, dump it upside down on a piece of newspaper or, something that will catch all the crud that gets in there. And then go by one just for fun and see, like, am I ever going to use this? Is this useful? Should somebody else be using it? Or does it go in the garbage? Or is it like an, artifact or a key from 3 houses ago? How many people have a collection of keys? Well, if you don't turn that into a musical instrument, bring, bring like that, then let those things go, right? So yeah, no junk drawers allowed, no junk closets allowed. That's just out of the question. I had someone, I remembered someone who used to be like a best friend to me until the pandemic. So sad, so sad. She lives in Minneapolis. I was thinking about maybe contacting her, but it'd be too sad if she's still mad at me for driving through the US in the pandemic. But um, so she helped me in a few different ways. One, by example, because she's a very clean and organized person. Two, at like an intense degree. She made a business out of it. I helped her scale her business, so that was really fun. And then so number one, with my closet, she had me. We had a session of hers together, and we went through, and I put on nearly every single thing that I owned of clothing in my closet. And then she would say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Like, okay, yes, that's a good piece of clothing, but it looks like crap on you. Or that looks good on you, or that's a good color for you, but it's not a good fit. And basically you end up with a closet full of things that you don't wear and that just attract, stale energy. And maybe, what else does it attract? Moths. At times I have had moths. It's really devastating when you find out. Luckily, we have a long winter and we can, send a lot of things out into the sub-zero where they die. That's really good. But, and then, so we filled up a wagon with all of the rejects. It was almost as high as a house, this wagon. We had to walk with two of us so the whole thing didn't fall over to the secondhand bins down the street. And it was, I was going like, oh, wow, this, kind of sweating. And this is like pretty intense on the nervous system. And I wondered, am I going to miss anything in that pile? I don't have a miss for anything, although I am a person that was raised by grandparents that had been through depressions. They did save everything. They saved the button. They saved a thread that could be tied to another thread. So they had a whole thread to sew with. They saved popsicle sticks instead of buying garden markers to label your garden with. And he's saying, okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to read this. There we go. So what if you have a dozen plus junk drawers with good stuff in them? You need organizational skills desperately. Right. One at a time. So maybe I'll jump to this. I was on Sarah Tomato's channel the other night, and I don't know why she was exactly talking about this, but she was on the subject of some organizing and stuff like that and cleaning. And so here's a method. This is flawless, especially if you're short on time. Now, for drawers, I would just take, if the drawer is about a square foot, you just take one. You don't set your sight into doing more. You just take one. You dump it upside down. You let all the contents out. You actually look at them. You could make a couple of categories. I haven't used this in 2 years. It goes in the likely out box. And if you use it periodically, Is it a tool? Is it for sewing? Is it for taking care of your body? Is it for, then you got to start creating some categories of things in your life so they could be concentrated in certain areas. And that's, I'm not a professional organizer. There are lots of people out there that do that. That was one of the reasons that I was a little bit hesitant to call this clean, because that's not my jam. I geek out about it. It's part of my passion, but I don't work for people doing this. I do work for them to clear the inside. And so good luck, best wishes for that. And then so Sarah reminded me of this beautiful technique. Also, shout out to one of my first meditation teachers who taught me this. And so say you have like a really bad kitchen and it's maybe 2 meals, 3 meals, and the dishes are everywhere on every surface. I actually have quite a lot of counter surfaces in my kitchen with an island, and that's not always good because there's so much space. It means there's a lot of places to put shit. And so here's the thing. You create a little map. Say if I was going to go from this end of the island, make a U back to the counter that's by the sink, and then theoretically, if I start here and I just always move forward, by the time I get to the top left side, I will have cleaned everything behind me. Because isn't that the biggest frustration of all, when you're cleaning and you're cleaning and you're cleaning, and then you look behind you and you're like, oh my God, there's a bunch more stuff there. I thought I was finished. So this is a solution to that. I don't always remember to use it, but if I'm short on time in particular, this is the way to go. And so you attend 1 square foot at a time, knowing where you're starting and where you're heading is very important. What direction are you going in? And you could probably use this for any NAD for your drawer as well, but it might be a little bit different because I think you need to just empty that drawer as a first start. So you start at say in my example, you're going to start at the left side back of the kitchen, and then say there's some items on that square foot that you don't know what you're going to do with them. They don't go in the dishwasher. They're not a hand wash. They're maybe not even a kitchen thing. But in order to not lose time sitting there deliberating about every single object and where should it go, does it have a home? Does it, do things like that need their own space? Because that's a lot of mental effort and you'll be sitting there for a long time. And so what do you do instead of deliberating and deciding on every stupid little piece of whatever you've got going on? You move it forward. Unless it's blatantly obvious, okay, this goes here and that goes there, and that's a dirty dish and this is a clean dish. And, when you got momentum like that, deal with your square foot. When you've dealt with your square foot, then you go to the next square foot in front of you, given the direction that you've already determined. And so, your thing will still be there. If you still don't know what to do with that thing that you had to push forward, you push it forward again into the next square foot. So you keep giving yourself lots of chances and you don't have to stick yourself with deciding everything at the same time. And then you just keep moving it forward and moving it forward and moving it forward and moving it forward. And then by the end, again, you look back and it's all done. And it's all like really cleared. So I love that. It's a priceless technique. Shout out to Sarah Tomato for reminding me of that. And that's a time saver right there. Definitely. So you're taking notes. Decluttering is your goal. It's so good. It's so good for your heart and your mind in many, many ways. Let's see. This is a story from Dr. Jacob Lieberman. If you're familiar with him, he wrote the Luminous Life. Is that right? No, that is Dr. Chan. What is it called? Darn it. I have to look that up really quickly. So I've had Jacob on my podcast maybe 3 times already. The last time was 2020, just after the pandemic hit. And because he's a doctor, He drank all the Kool-Aid and he believed in the boogeyman virus. So despite really loving his work, I kind of threw up my hands a little bit. But because I saw him on Alpha Vedic not too long ago, and I just got high as a kite listening to him. There's something so beautiful and so pure there that I will have to forgive him for that. I've invited him for another interview. We'll see if he will come on. I hope he does. I don't think I made it hard for him last time at all, but my chat was going like, oh no, like this, not good comments. But here's what he shared. And I love this because he talks about what is trying to capture your attention. And this is the thing that happens when you have your space full of crap. It's funny, I'm looking at my desk right now, and I've come a long way in my workspace. I wish I could zoom the camera around and show you how open things are in some ways. And I could go next level. I'm going to go next level on this. And so he says that if something's trying to capture your attention, rather than try to not let that happen, which is what we're used to doing, because our attention is at a premium. You could say our attention is a currency. And so giving our attention, it's an important thing. You need to understand the value of your attention and not just, give it to anything, anywhere, anytime, right? This is important. Our attention, and our controllers know that. That's why they go out of their way to capture our attention. Now, what Jacob is teaching is that if you're in your house, this is to the subject of cleaning, and you live with people, and so always throws their socks in the corner. And why do they throw their socks in the corner when the laundry basket is like right there? Or they could just walk over to the laundry room and put their damn socks in there. And how many women have been frustrated by that? I grew up around older women, my mom, my aunts, all of the girlfriends. They would complain about those men who would do exactly that with the socks, ball them up and toss them under the bed or wherever they would go. And they were always irritated by that. And it was always a subject somehow. I don't know why, this memory for it. So Jacob would say, no, if those socks caught your attention and it bothers you, then treat it as your responsibility. You pick up the socks, right? If so-and-so is not bothered by the socks, what are you going to do? You want them to be bothered. That's not really a solution. And, have you ever seen how difficult it is to actually motivate someone to do something, whether that's a child or your husband or your best friend who you might live with? That just doesn't go well, especially with adults who are, you have to show dignity. You can't, and you have to leave them with their dignity. So if you sit there and your socks and they're dirty and you're a mess and you're a slob or something like that, then first of all, maybe don't, if you could avoid living with them or find there are ways to reorganize spaces so that you don't really have to deal with other people's crap all the time. But I love this thing. It's like if I see something as a mess, this is how a king archetype sees it. If there's something wrong in my kingdom, I did it. Even if you physically, mentally had nothing to do with it, in reality, it's there in your space. It's captured your attention. Allow it to capture your attention and just deal with it. Again, time saver, major time saver, conflict saver. Because, if I just spent the whole childhood being at war with my son about cleaning up, we probably wouldn't have a very good relationship right now. There would be lots of bad crap under the, because then kids get punished and they get their privileges withheld, and then you withhold love from them. You're not even kind and warm with them. So, honestly, if it's your problem, then you deal with it. Yeah, you got it. ACIM 11, radical responsibility, as you can't change others, only yourself. Yeah. And how long does it take to pick up the damn sock, right? Almost nothing, but it takes a long time to end up in conflict over it. And taking ownership is powerful and just plain efficient. Exactly. And you're setting an example. Oh, it's Janet. Hey, Janet, nice to see you. I got your message, by the way. And so, yeah, I really like that. And I'm hoping Jacob will come back on. That would be fun. So let's move along and talk about physical cleaning up, what that means. I went for most of my life not understanding what detox meant. I thought I was detoxing all the time. I did the green juices, I took vitamin C. I mean, when I was sick with cancer many, many years ago, that was a lot of detox. There was some sweat therapy. They called it balneotherapy, where they would put me in a uber hot bath, so hot that most people couldn't have stood it. And if you moved at all, it was painful. But as long as you stayed entirely still the entire time, you got a therapist watching you, because if your vitals go off the charts, and then after they would lift and take you out and wrap the crap out of you, and you would sweat it out, so it's just basically like a sauna blanket. So I'm looking forward to that. And with some exceptions, I was doing green juicing. Doesn't actually detox you. It fills you full of, in my case, metals, copper. I mean, in everybody's case, because there's a lot of copper in the greens that I was juicing. So what I thought was detox is not detox. If you're brand new to this channel, maybe you're brand new to the work of Dr. Garrett Smith, you can definitely look him up. I could introduce you. You can watch his videos, interviews of him on my channel here. And so now I feel like I have a much better handle on what detoxing actually means. And so let me know in the chat, what are your favorite ways to do that? I'm going to be gross and say, like, nearly at the top of my list, because I'm a girl. I detox slower. I have poisoned the living crap out of myself in my lifetime, for sometimes knowing it and a lot of times not knowing it. And so one of my all-time favorite things, this is kind of gross to talk about, is enemas. Now, what is really popular in the enema world is coffee enemas, putting coffee up your butt. I don't recommend those, because caffeine is a poison. It is an insecticide, you guys. It's an insecticide. So you don't want that up your butt. You really don't. They say, oh, well, it doesn't go through your liver, therefore it doesn't detox you. But coming from someone who really, I poisoned myself very big with caffeine early on. I developed an intense sensitivity to it. So even a little bit of caffeine makes me, I had a one shot espresso decaf, my one every 6 weeks the other week. And oh my goodness, so much energy. And I was just zooming and getting shit done so fast. That's not about enemas, but anyway. So caffeine, I know is poisonous, and it's poisonous in the enemas too. Sorry to say, I know that's not popular. People will probably slam me for that. It's okay, but that is. So what I've learned to do instead, thanks to Kelsey Kenny and all her research in niacin, I do niacin enemas. And so because my detox tends to be more slow, and I can't speed up my detox. That is such a bad frame of mind, to speed detox, because there's repercussions for that. When you're really detoxing, then you take all of the poison that was probably cloistered away in your tissues, in your fat cells, in your liver, and you let them off into your gut. If your gut is full of holes, which the vast majority of people have, what do you call it? Like a permeable gut, or a permeated gut. There's probably a better word for that. Then the poison ends up in your bloodstream. It goes to every part of your body. It's how you get headaches. It's how you get, the snot running and the cough and the crap coming out of your ears and your skin and breaking out and all of that kind of thing. So niacin enema can save my life. In not that I'm not like in a life-saving place anymore, but I've created a much higher standard for digestion than I ever had. Amazing. Like, I feel good every time I eat, 99.9% of the time, because I eat good food, I eat clean food, I eat very simple food now compared to where I was at before, and very low poison, which you need to know what that means. Everyone thinks they eat low poison, but honestly, it's a whole different thing. So the periodic niacin enemas, they're like amazing, just so good, and they don't seem to set off the detox fireworks, which you don't want. I don't want. I don't want to be sick all the time, even though I know I'm detoxing. That's no comfort for me. I want to live my life and have energy and be able to do a live stream about being clean. Perforated probably is a better word, Polly. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mike said you still do coffee enemas occasionally. And I mean, not everybody is super sensitive to caffeine either, but it doesn't mean it's not toxic. So never have tried niacin ones. I need to clarify, by the way, in case anyone takes my advice here. It's not any niacin. It has to be nicotinic acid, not niacinamide, not nicotinate, I believe is another one. And it's harder to get. I remember I went to Costco. I asked them for nicotinic acid, and then they pulled out the niacinamide, and I'm like, no, dudes, you don't understand. This is toxic, and so you have to order special the nicotinic acid there. So, but I have a good, these are things we talk about in the House of Free Will group on the Love Your Liver channel chat. And so I have good sources for it. And you can just go to bulksupplements.com. It is the most economical. So yeah, intense exercise, but safe. That's better for a guy. But when it comes to a girl, intense exercise will, and this will happen for a guy too. It actually sets off the very same thing. It sets off too much detox at one time. It's called a bile dump. That's when the bile ends up in your blood where you don't want it, where your bloodstream and your veins and your brain and everything is not designed for bile. The gut is designed for bile, but if it's perforated, then yeah. So intense exercise, it's, guys, it's good. It's better for guys because it's really about building, or it's also about building character and building endurance and building mental stamina and strength and the willingness to go the distance and do the marathon. But it sets off bile dumps. So I'm just not in it for that. I've had a lifetime of bile dumps. So I'm trying to go more gentle myself, but I'm glad that works good for you. Lots of good spring water. I was a spring water junkie for a lot of years. We have one of the all-time best sources of that here in Manitoba, kind of miraculously so not far from here. And he's a member of the House of Free Will, and he pays me in water. And I distill that water. I still distill the spring water. Isn't that interesting? Because yes, nature gave you the spring water, but it's full of things you don't want. It's full of things you do want. But unfortunately, if you're really, really trying to cut back on the toxins, which is always the best way to go, I will distill my spring water. And it's the most delicious water ever. I love it. NAC, I'm not familiar with. So you'll have to let me know about that. Fasting is, great subject, Janet. This one is something that I never wanted to fast. I had an aversion to fasting. 3 years ago, when my digestion stopped and nothing was working, I wasn't able to heal with food, then I was recommended to go on a fast. So I did 9 days without food. And it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. My body went into shock. My adrenals set off the fire alarms as if they weren't already damaged enough, although they're way better now, amazingly, so much better. And so I don't recommend fasting. And then when I met Garrett Smith, I discovered the exact reason why fasting is not the best approach. Because yes, you're not taking poison in anymore. And most people's normal diets are full of poison. But when you fast, you're not detoxing. Your detox pathways require food. They require nutrients. They require your system to be moving things through, right? So I was so happy when I heard that because I really hate fasting. And it was a huge craze, and everybody's fasting. It was I learned someone tragically something terrible happened with fasting as well. It's not what it's cut out to be. So don't listen to the propaganda. Listen to the actual, living. I don't know how much scientific research there is around fasting, but you don't detox. So why do you want that? That's why people are always like, oh, you have to come off your fast so carefully. It's like, why? Because your body's gonna start detoxing again. As soon as it gets food, it's like, yay, good, I can do my job again. And then we think that's a problem. And then, people and their relationship with food. And I feel like there's an agenda to make us feel like we don't need food and want to go without food. And I got super skinny that way too. I was mentally preparing for the famine when they kept threatening the supply chains are going to go down. And that was really bad for me. I definitely messed up my metabolism by not eating enough. And now I'm on the other side where I eat religiously. I eat first thing in the morning. I put everything off until my body's nourished. I will spend the time to prepare, at least 2 good meals and then have a really decent snack or more. And I finally don't go to bed hungry every night, which is great. That was a sign I didn't get enough food. And so good. I'm glad. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you don't need to torture yourself that way. That's what it is. Actually, it's going completely against nature. Your body asks for food because it needs that stuff. Okay. Let's see. I missed a comment by Annie. I was never bothered by his socks nor your own. Having stuff around felt comfortable to both of you. So you're the worst housekeeper ever. You're learning. There you go. And that's even better. Like, so don't wait for something to bother you to do it. You don't need, as long as you see the wisdom of it, as long as you see that there's benefit and that, it's going to influence other areas of your life, the benefit spills over like crazy. That's why people can make a living helping you to declutter. And that's why it can be valuable to hire someone to come in and clean your space, or you do all of the decluttering and you get the crap out of the way, and then you have a cleaner come in and they can go way deeper because there's nothing in the way and they can spend their time much more wisely. So yeah, don't wait to be bothered. That's another part of it. Although if you're bothered, then that's obviously something to think about. So where are we here? Enemas, I didn't get past that. Saunas talked about that. And yeah, cleaning out the gut. I no longer believe they would talk about the impacted guts. I no longer believe that. Thanks to Garrett, it makes no sense at all. And then you don't have to think about, oh, I've got plaque in my gut and it's been there forever and that kind of thing. It's not like that. So yeah, clean space helps you mentally, and that's exactly right. Opens up life opportunities energetically. Exactly. I'll talk more about that. So yeah, neglected space on the outside can also reflect a neglected space inside. So that's just something to think about, or the other way around. And then I want to talk about something called the niyams in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. I think I have the book probably close by. I just have my little notebook here. Anyway, it's not close enough for me to grab it. Probably in the other bookshelf, yeah. But so there's the 8 limbs of yoga. If you ever studied yoga and you did Ashtanga yoga, that's what that was named after, the 8 limbs of yoga. Although they didn't do the 8 limbs. It's so funny it was called Ashtanga yoga because all they did was asana. And yes, asana is one of the 8 limbs. And if I could show off a little bit, the 8 limbs of yoga are yam, niyam, asana. That's where the postures come in. Yam, niyam, asana, pranayam. That's the breath. Pratyahar. That's the inward turning. Dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. Dharana being concentration, dhyan being meditation, samadhi being bliss or the bliss state, which I have a lot to say about. I won't go deep into that. And then so in the beginning where there's the yams and niyams, I'm going to talk about the niyams. This probably doesn't help you guys to geek out on the words, but they're fun. They're beautiful words. I just love them. So the niyams are, I'm going to have to go by these notes because I can't see a thing from my desk here in the dark. It's a dark day. And so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 niyams within that one category of personal observances is what it's called. And so this scripture, this text recommends the first niyam is shoch. And shoch is about purity and cleanliness. And for the reason of not clinging to the body, which is kind of interesting because when you neglect the body, people might think that that is a way to not cling to the body, but just by neglecting it, not feeding it, not cleaning it, not, you look at some of the ascetics in India and they're covered head to toe in mud and their hair is like disgusting dreadlocks. Like that's the real meaning of dreadlocks. But in India, this is, now I don't know how common this is, but there are yogis that they actually know how to expel their colon out of their body into the water to clean it out. So like a colonic from the outside out. Can you imagine having that much control over your body? And it's for the purpose of being less attached to your body. Now, why do we end up too attached to our body is because our bodies are noisy. You get a lot of symptoms, you get signs, there's crap coming out your nose and your eyes and your whatevers, right? And then there's pain and there's discomfort and there's indigestion and there's burping and farting and all the kind of, fun stuff. And it all makes you attached to the flesh and the bones. But when there's more purity, more cleanliness at the physical level, then you don't have to be so attached. Right? It's always much harder to fix something than it is to maintain something. That's whether it's physical or at any other level. And so when the body is just healthy, then it takes very little to just keep it going. It doesn't need your full-time attention. I know this so well that when I get well, it's easy to stay well. When I get sick, that's going to take my time and attention, and it's going to create that attachment to my body. It creates that fear of not surviving, which is that whole other subject. And so this personal observance of shoch, very important. And the next niyam is a different level of cleanliness called santosh. And that's about contentment. So this is a fun place to think about because one of the ways that we are, cluttering up our minds and our hearts is by being discontented. Highly nuanced here because right away, people, when you say be content, they might say, well, then you're asking me to be satisfied with something that's not satisfying, or you're asking me to be okay with something that's not okay, or you're asking me to condone something that's actually not right. And this is not true. So as a tool or a personal observance, contentment is a wonderful thing to employ. Now, chances are you can't just put content on top of discontent. Then it's not really contentedness. You got that mix, and one will argue with each other. So for me now, with the deprogramming skills, I know how to be content for real, not just suppress the discontent. But it goes a long way, and it's right in alignment with one of the main principles of releasing, is that in order to change something, you must first allow it to be there. Right? Goes against basic logic, but that's how it is. How could I relate this to cleaning? Is like if you go into denial about your clutter and your corruption in your life, then I use that tongue-in-cheek corruption, then there's maybe I can't totally relate this back. So yeah, you're going to be not content. You're going to be not content in that denial. It will be an unconscious discontent. Anything unconscious is more powerful, has more power over you or appears to have more power over you, not in reality that it actually does. But yeah, so contentment is a good personal observance to allow things to be as they are. To, like for example, Alex Zek announced that he is now booking interviews for 2026. I already had my hand up to have my son and I come on so I can show what it's like to have like an unjabbed, unmedicated, um, he's not unschooled, but he's practically unschooled because it was a total option to go to school or not. And so I have this on my mind, and I'm working on being content with it. I've put it out there. Now, he did post. If you guys are over on Facebook and you feel to go to his post and maybe like because I said hand up here just as a reminder, and you think it would be a good idea for me to be on Alex podcast again, I think it would just be so amazing to show how Liam has uniquely grown in a world, and it's a really good example. Anyway, that's just my mama talking, my proud mama talking there. But yeah, so I'm working at being content with things as they are, not having an answer. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but oh yeah. So Annie's asking, they did what? They expelled their intestines. Yeah, they expelled them. I guess out their butt. I don't think it would come out your belly button. I think no. I'm pretty sure it's out your butt. So it's really gross, but that's how they would clean in, and then they would go in the river. And who wants to go in the river after they do that? But oh well. So yeah, that's like not everybody would be doing that. So it's a very serious technique in yoga. And it's very intense. I imagine. Can't feel good. Might feel great. I don't know. But yeah, contentment. But if you feel to vote for me being on Alex's show again in 2026, then please do. I would love and appreciate that. And then so the next niyam is called tapaha or tup, and this is about tackling hardship. The root tup means fire. And so tackling hardship and accepting it and taking it on, it cleans you with fire, right? And this is very good. Fire is very fast at cleaning. For example, Annie D, rather than cleaning your place, you could set fire to it. And it would clear the slate very quickly, right? You would just be left with nothing but ash, a little sweep up of ash, and then you're so clean. So really tongue in cheek here, but so the fire of hardship doing, and that can say be like Mike was talking about intense exercise. And a lot of people they struggle with exercise. And I know I struggled so big with exercise. I was really fitful with it. I had couch potato parents. They were workaholics. So they would sit down and that was it for them. They weren't TV watchers for the most part, which is amazing. My mom was a book reader, but nonetheless, it's a lot of stagnant energy. Our bodies need to move, and cleaning the body depends on movement. So if you have the ability to set yourself on fire by tackling the hardship of moving when you don't want to move, or brushing your teeth when you don't want to brush them, who wants to always brush their teeth forever, twice a day? Like, it's just, there's something can be hard about that. Never mind high risk stuff. I feel like I set myself on fire every single day. I set myself on fire to come on this live stream because, being solo, I don't have a lot to fall back on, but God bless you guys for showing up in the chat, because that makes it so much more fun and easier for me. And yeah, so ways to set yourself on fire for the sake of purification, doing things you don't really want to do, but that are going to be good for you, right? Getting an education. Nobody wants to sit and learn every word of everything in the subject that they need to know in order to gain a skill, but through that tapas, through that fire, you gain purification, and of course you gain the skills in the process. Hello, Maria Watkins. I think we're going to have a meeting sometime pretty soon. Nice to have you here. All right, so we're still on the niyams, and the next one is called Swadhyaya, and or swadhyay is a better pronunciation for the word by itself. And this observance is about the study of self, but it's self with the capital S. So if you don't like the word God, or you don't like universe with a capital U, or you don't like the divine, or everyone's got their, for some reason, problem with this word and that word. But I like swa is a beautiful word because it does mean self, the atma, the God self, the source self. And so this study of the self, not the study of like the navel gazing and just like look at yourself. That's all good. That often is a kind of tapas or fire, by the way, to see something about yourself you don't want to see. Then it sets you on fire, and you get to purify from that. But the paying attention to self. This is very subtle, very fine, and it is definitely a means for purification. When you allow the divine to capture your attention, and you probably only can do that because you had to clean up a little first. If there's a lot of thoughts and a lot of chaotic emotions and programs running and upset, or even, strong positive emotions, it's going to be hard to pay attention to this capital S self. So once you make some space for that, and you can do that, it's extremely cleansing for your heart and your mind. The fire here is not welcome. And you don't want to set your place on fire, but you like the light stuff. Very good. That's awesome. All right. Someone's going to say, Beth Martins recommend you set your house on fire. Okay. And then, so the second last niyam, personal observance, is a rise to the truth. Now you're hearing me say it again. People do not like the truth. They like a little bit of what they think to be true. They like what their nervous system can handle. They don't necessarily want to go all the way. I want to attract people who want to go all the way, right to the bottom of it. Honestly, even if it means it turns over every stone and turns my life upside down, which it has many, many times already. And look at me, I did not die, right? So the truth threatens you, as if it'll threaten to turn things inside out. It might threaten uncomfortable relationships. That might be a reality. It's not convenient, the truth. It's almost never convenient. And it's made me something of an outlier among outliers. I thought I was finally home in my world. But even now, I can't stop it. Like a little kid, I just can't stop going for, if there's a deeper truth to be had, I want that. I can't not want that. I'm loyal to it. And this is part of that purification of yourself, arising to the capital T truth. That's that also is the name of God. Another name of God, Ishwara. Ishwara. So the very last niyam, I'm going a little slow through this. The Sanskrit word is pranidhan. Pranidhan. I think there's even a pranidhan. There's sort of an arn sound in there. And this one means devotion, and that's about love. And there is no more purifying force than actual love, right? If you want to fix anything, relationship-wise, or inside yourself, something that's broken, it must be done with love. If you try to do it with any kind of aggression, or even, the program that tells you this has to change, better change it, get rid of it, kill it, all of that kind of stuff, it doesn't work. It's just adding programs on top of programs. But if you come at it with love, same thing with a hard discussion in a relationship. Something needs to be said, but don't say it until you can actually come from love, and not pretend love, not the fake love, not the nice voice love kind of thing, right? I know how to do that. But the real deal, where you actually feel it, even though you still see, yes, there's something needs to be discussed, or something wrong has happened, or something does need to shift and change, if you can release until you can do that from love, way better, way cleaner results. Otherwise, you're going to create more problems in the process of trying to clean up a problem. Ever experience that? So there you go. All right. So here's another way. I'm actually starting to wind down. I only got about 4 points here. That's really good. And so here's another amazing way to clean up. And this harkens back to the 12-step system, which I think I did a little bit of it because my parents had alcohol problems. And so I think I did, it was Alateen or Al-Anon, maybe both. At times, I never went deep into it because it was so victim infested. I just couldn't stand it myself. But I know there's a lot of people have made use of it, and that it can be extremely helpful. One of the steps, and I don't know which one because I don't have them memorized, is about making amends. And to me, this is never going to get old. There's never going to be a time where you shouldn't make amends. Because as soon as you realize that you've wronged someone or you've done something that harmed yourself or someone else, then it's a good idea to make amends. Oh, I'm sorry I did that. I didn't consciously want to hurt you, but I see that happened anyway. Or I consciously wanted to hurt you and I realize that's not a good way to be. And sometimes now this takes a little bit of inner work, or can take a lot of inner work, because sometimes making amends can actually make a problem for that person, that they're over it, and you can kind of open a can of worms for them again. So you always want to see, like, is it just to serve yourself and your own being clean with yourself, or is that actually going to serve the other person or bring them down? I mean, bringing them down, but is it going to injure them, re-injure them? Do they have any capacity, if it brings up old stuff that they don't want to look at, do they have any capacity to actually deal with that? So you want to have that person really in mind. It's not just about you cleaning your house. Making amends can be done in a lot of different ways. I heard something from Garrett Kramer the other day, who I almost had on, but we had a scheduling problem. And he was talking, was it him or somebody else? Anyway, it was really good advice. Who was saying it? I don't remember. But it's basically like, when you have the ability, if you did something wrong and you have the ability to have a moment of heartfelt regret, where you're like, oh, darn, I just can't believe I did that. And I wish I hadn't done that. And you have remorse and you have true regret and you have the pain of that. And it's heartfelt, and you're not bypassing the pain anymore. Then that is what allows you to move on. Now, I would recommend including some deprogramming work in there, because you can get there and you can have the feels, but you might very well still have roots in the unconscious that are going to replicate the kind of circumstances that had you do the wrongs in the first place. You might repeat that into the future and just have a source of unending regret. So that's why I recommend the deprogramming work. Of course, like a broken record. Hello, Stacy T1H. I'm glad you love these episodes. That's so great. It helps me a lot because I'm loving them, and then feedback is just fantastic. Mikey said, creating a personal inventory and list of people you've harmed, then making amends and giving it to God. There you go. Yep, that's that full step. Yep, and that's a good way to clean up. I tell you, that's a lot of weight that you can let go of. So this is also along the theme of coming clean, meaning be honest. I was having fun with myself when I was saying this several times out loud. Fess the F up. Fess up. Fess up. Right? How many people will not do that and say they change their story, what they're saying, like they, maybe they somewhere realized they were saying something wrong, so they say something new, but they never say they changed what they're saying. They hope you didn't notice. Well, anyone who's paying attention, you notice this stuff. It's important, right? It's not irrelevant by any means. And then there's, God bless them, the gaslighters, that they will go on to the new thing. And then if you mention like, hey, but you said this, and then I never said that. I never said that. That's like one of the worst forms of abuse. I have a particular pet peeve with this one because I've been injured a lot by people's lies. One in particular. And so this is, to me, one of my highest values: honesty, transparency. Mike, you mentioned at the very beginning of the stream today. And if you went wrong, just say you did it. Just say you went wrong. I did the thing. I remember there was one time, this is a good story, how I have a garage door that used to bounce. We obviously had a very faulty system because now it works perfectly. And sometimes that stupid garage door would bounce open. And I've lost a bicycle. I lost a guitar. I have lost my taxes. All my files were in my car one night when that stupid door would bounce like this, right? And so I got in the habit, every time I would close it, I hang around and I watch. I watch you. Are you gonna go down and up, or are you just going down? So having to be vigilant for that. So one night I obviously just walked away. I thought the door was closing, and it didn't. It stayed open all night. And then what happened is the -90 weather hit the plumbing and exploded it. So it blew out. And all of a sudden, I don't have water because all my water's connected to that garage. And there was a very big mess. So I told the person who owns the building, and oh boy, I wanted to say it was something else. I just wanted to say it was somebody else's fault. I thought, oh my goodness, it's going to be thousands of dollars in damage, and I'm going to be on the hook for this. And I just got up my bravery and I told him I did it. The door must have bounced and I didn't catch it. I didn't watch closely enough this time. And what did he do? Can you guys guess what he did in that moment? I'll let you tell me in the chat. So, and fessing up, it's about, people think, they hope no one notices. But the fact is that you notice. Every cell of your body notices it. You carry that in your record. Some people might say like, oh, God is noticing. But I might say like, well, God doesn't care. Right? The love of God is unconditional. The worst criminals, liars, thieves, like the sun shines on everything. The crap and the good stuff alike. But you care, right? Your mind, your body, your heart, the cluttered, the weight, that's what cares. And you don't want to carry that around your whole life. That will set you back big time. And, this is either consciously or unconsciously. Almost always unconsciously is when this kind of stuff happens, especially if you're in apathy. So you have to care. And, if there's something to fess up about, just do it. So anyway, nobody's answering me. My when I fessed up that I was responsible for blowing up the waterworks, he said, oh, thank you for telling me. And there was no consequences. He wasn't mean to me. He didn't charge me. You could see energetically there was appreciation for just solving the mystery, because otherwise it was like, well, how did this happen? There was no sign for it. So it was, I wept. I'm just like, it was such a beautiful thing just to come clean and say, it was me. I did it. So what else do we got here? I thought one of the more important features of cleaning up, and I'm reminding myself and going on the record for this, is to clean up your tabs. Anyone out there a junkie? I used to just use my Brave, and that was bad enough. But now I'm also using Chrome again with a major ad blocker so I can watch the odd video without a bunch of interruptions. And so I end up with two browsers. And because I got one of my screens is bigger for live streaming, I can have two windows, and they each have, if I count, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 50 on one side and 50 on the other. And then I got I got a laptop with another 100 tabs open. So I have to work on this one. I could use your support, your emotional support right now to close my tabs. Anyone else out there have a tabs disorder? It's kind of off the charts. So anyway, tongue in cheek. I was just being human. Yep, exactly. Exactly. But it was very tempting not to fess up. I didn't have to, right? I didn't have to. People fess up when they have to, but I didn't have to. I did that for my own internal soul. And then, yeah, you can get busy with tabs. I imagine you mean with emails and stuff like that. Yep. All right. So people basically have resistance to doing this work. That is one of my specialties. I help people to release resistance, which is one of the main root programs. As I mentioned, I've spent a lot of time in the last couple of weeks revamping one of my courses that I'm now affectionately titling Deprogramming 101 for those that want to go back to the beginning. And they probably don't know they want to go back to the beginning. But if you're at the beginning, this is the good place to start. You might hear me say these words, deprogramming, over and over again. It just becomes a word. It doesn't carry a lot of meaning, but it really is about cleaning up, making space, not necessarily so you can fill the space. Space in itself is so fertile, and it begets a natural outpouring of creative energy. I see it every single time that, if I get into a low space or heavy space or super challenged or setback, like the accidents I had in the summer, which you can hear on episode 1 of Beth of Fresh Air, then I have to turn towards the release work in order to find any impetus. Because why? I don't have a world like most people do. Nobody tells me what to do. All my time, I choose what to do with it. Some people think that's fantastic. It's actually an enormous responsibility. And it can be very painful to think that I would waste that luxury that most people don't have. And so then if you're interested in this, I was going to make an offer that you would actually have to take me up on personally. I don't have a link at this time. We could have a conversation if you'd like to explore the Deprogramming 101 and get some basic emotional intelligence and be able to navigate your emotions and be able to find the programs that are under the multiple layers, not just under your emotions, but under your sensations, under your beliefs, under all of the layers of your human experience that clutter up your mind and your heart. And this is the work worth doing, not waiting until you get to your dying days to think, oh, I got to better clean up now, when you might not have the capacity and you might not have the skills, or you might not have the cognition to do it, because you actually need a brain. You're going to use your brain for the purpose of deprogramming, not to think your way through this stuff, but to point towards the important stuff. And so then you can take me up on that by putting a comment below the video with your hand up and a yes, and a way to reach you, because I can't reach you through, if it's YouTube or Rumble, by the way. Then if you want to put an email address, just spell the word @ rather than making the whole email address so your email doesn't get eaten alive. Please come on Telegram. Telegram is one of the best places to find me. I'm there on the King Hero chat every day. I'm connecting with people there, some excellent people there you might want to be part of. Let me see if I can grab my Telegram link. Once we're connected on the King Hero chat, then you could join me in a private exchange easily just by tapping on my name there. Is that true? Anyway, we'll figure it out there. I would tap on your name if you put your hand up and let me know that you want to do that. So let me just get the Telegram link. That would be great. Telegram is a funny platform. There is some kind of, not quite censorship. Nobody takes my posts down, but they will take my emojis down, and my links, or not my links, but, if I like something, I'll come back and it looks like I didn't like it. So it's kind of annoying, but that seems to be all bad and wrong that's going on over there. I can't find. Okay, I got to clean up my computers. So you heard me say it. Be witness to it. Damn it. Is that going to have it? Telegram? Nope. Does anyone have my Telegram channel? Here, let's see. I swear I've got a note called show notes. There it is in big capital letters. Excellent. Okay, here we go. Here is the King Hero Telegram chat. So if you're not already on there, please. Okay. All right. I need a self-help group around this. My notes quit on me because it doesn't like being my filing system. I'm going to open it again. Ask, pretty please be my filing system. It's so convenient. It's so easy rather than making documents. So amazing, but it doesn't really have that capacity. I'm coaxing it and I need to clean it a little bit. Okay, there's the King Hero chat. So you can go and grab that access to that group. It'd be fantastic to have you there. If you haven't already done my King Hero quiz, I recommend this as a great first move. I also recommend reading my book on the 8 archetypes of the hero's journey. And what else can I share with you guys? Yeah, if you'd like to take part in the Deprogramming 101 course, then just hit me up on Telegram or at my website. You can fill out literally any form. Just say, I'd like to talk about that. You obviously don't know what is. Now, if you like, I could show you the back end of the program. My only hesitation here is that this is recorded. It is private behind the scenes, but if you want to have a one-on-one meeting, I will show you the whole entire course inside so you can see if it's something that you want for yourself at this time. So laugh my ass off. You beat me to it. Oh, Michelle, there you go. It's funny. I felt you in the ethers. Darn, I felt you. I should have waited. I kind of felt you there. So yeah, here's the chat link. And here is the link to my quiz. There's also a training on the archetypes of controlled op. You have to ask me for that because that link I don't want available to the public and just any Joe. I get weirdos on my mail list and they mark my emails spam and that gets me in trouble. Please don't do that. If you're only around to make trouble, I don't think there is. I'm not really feeling it. But every so often I get people in my world that they just want trouble. So not very much though. Otherwise, I get good people like all of you who've been here. Thank you so much for coming. I will be back again next Friday. If there are any requests for themes of episodes, I don't think I'm going to run out for a long time. You might notice that all of my episodes are verbs. So I'm going to stay on that theme of what action can be done, what action can be taken to help inspire people and get to a more active role in their life rather than maybe passively sitting back and letting things happen, which is not everybody by any stretch of imagination. But I am a fan of being a doer. And then there's the next level to get to non-doership while you're doing. That's a whole other kind of thing. But I think that's it for now. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the US. I hope you have a good celebration. I'm going to play us out with one of the pieces off of my recording, Vijaya Living Knowledge, which you can find on iTunes and Spotify. And I have my recordings of my 4 CDs as well at my website. You might have to ask me for that too, because I'm always changing what's there. Okay. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Lots of love for now.
Oh, my true guide, Lord and supporter of all, forever free from identity. Be well, I'm dwelling in you. Be well, I am dwelling in you. Be well, I am dwelling in you. Vipadrashkanu manta Shabarata Gupta Maheshwara Paramatme Dija